What is happening, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Why Did I Buy a Mini Truck? Apologize for my absence over the last few weeks. Had a dental emergency that really set me back. So I haven't been doing anything except opening up packages for this truck, and I am ready to get back out into the garage. Feeling about 70% awesome, so no better time than to come out here and continue working on what we left off with. So I've got a Vevor stand assembled that holds our hood and our cowl, and I was able, before my appointment, to tack weld in the Roadie Fab tailgate flip kit, and I also installed the bracket on the other side to use our OEM latch assembly. So ideally the plan was to do the tailgate and the hood and the doors and the cowl and get them all done first, but I think what we're going to do, because the bed needs so much work and we are limited with our space here, we're going to do the bed first. We're going to do all of our cutting, all of our modifications, all of our cleanup. There's a lot we need to do, lots of dings, lots of little dents, but I'm going to try to take care of them mostly with a hammer and a dolly or a sandbag. Try to work them out as best I can. Try to use the least amount of filler as possible. Not a huge fan of filler, and the bed's in really good shape for the most part. We're going to come in here, wire wheel all this, wire wheel the other side of the bed, make our cuts, cut out our inner fenders here, because these are obviously rubbing, and they're definitely going to rub the new wheel and tire package. And when we make our cuts, we're going to cut right along here, and same thing at the bottom, just to open it up, just to make sure that our new wheel and tire setup is going to clear everything, and we can air all the way up, air all the way out, and then we will undercoat the bed and the inside part of the bed walls. So I think this right here will be all insulated, just so they don't, so it doesn't sound so hollow, right? I do have some DEI spray insulator, but I might slip some sheets up there just to kind of make it more solid. I know it's a little bit overkill, but I also don't like the sound of like a tin bed, and with the compressors and stuff, like, if we can minimize the rattles, that's the best. As far as the doors and stuff go, they're in pretty good shape. Some light work that'll be need to get done, but we have new hinges for it. So these will be just a little tedious because we're going to spray both sides. The inside portion we're going to spray black, the outside portion we'll spray with our black base coat, and then also our flake. I'm trying to keep it pretty neutral on the inside. Like, I know we already sprayed the jams, but the door jams are light, so they're the same as the bay. So if somebody wanted to change the color eventually, it would be really simple for them, but I still want it to look good. So what we'll do is the doors, they'll be really easy. They'll be sprayed on the inside just black, and then the outside part of the shell will have the metal flake. The same thing with the hood. Back side of the hood will just be black, top side will have the flake on it. The fender, same thing, inside of the fender black, outside of the fenders flake. So I just don't want you to be able to like see at any angle and see that something didn't get painted or did get painted. I mean, we're gonna spray all of this, like all of this in here is gonna get sprayed black. I mean, just to keep it nice and uniform. I don't want somebody to get under the truck and be like, oh, it looks like this. Like, wow, they only cared about what was on the outside, huh? Typical. Anyway, I'm gonna get you guys on the head mount, and we are just gonna get started. I'm gonna get this kind of pushed over here, and we're gonna get working on that bed. So I hope you guys enjoy. that we have the back portion of the bed trimmed out and what was left of the factory fender tubs, we're going to come back in here. We're going to trim the rest of these corners out, similar to how the back looks. I already went over to the other truck and I measured the distance from each of the bed mounts and then to the center of the wheel. Came over here, put a tape line, dropped a temporary tire in here just to make sure that our center looks good visually. Because of the 4-link setup, you know, our axle is shifted back just a little bit. Similar to like what happens when you re-drill the original leaf hangers. Same kind of thing. It kind of scoots the axle one way or the other depending on how you drill. So I mocked up the fender flare that we're going to use, and I'll tell you what, I think it looks really good. I did a little bit of trimming on it and I'm happy with how it turned out. I think it looks really cool. Really a fan of like how it flares out. These aren't super expensive, but I think they'll look cool for the time being, until we find something a little bit more permanent. But I kind of like how these look. I was able to modify them and heat them up to flex them so that they kind of bend down the side of the cab a little bit, or the side of the bed, and then they kind of like start to flare out. So it's kind of cool, a little bit of taper, a little bit of a Rocket Bunny style, which is kind of unexpected, but at the same time, I think it looks pretty cool. I think it'll look cool, you know, on the truck. And then when it's all painted, I think it'll look really nice. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side over here, and I'm going to finish cutting out this portion of the bed and start taking measurements for our fuel cell. We also need to get some extra hardware off of here and start to clean up these wheel arches and figure out our solution to rejoining the inner and outer skin of the bed. We're not going to go too crazy with it, but I think we might use a little bit of spray foam or maybe some foam blocks that we Gorilla Glue into place. I'm just not a huge fan of like, you know, like that sound. And the whole cab is soundproofed, so I'd like to make the bed just a little bit more solid sounding, you know, like that. Plus it'll also help with any kind of like flex and movement of the outside skin of the bed, since the inside will be all tied together with the hump that we make, the kind of like our new tub. But the outside, I don't want the outside to have any like flex, you know, in and out or whatever. So we're gonna kind of fill that space. And I just think overall it'll just make it feel a little bit more planted and a little bit more stout. So I'm gonna put you guys on the head mount and we're gonna get to cutting up that other side. All right, so we went ahead and got this side mocked up and all drilled out, and then I went ahead and smoothed all the edges with just a flapper disc. Did the same thing on the other side, and then I also cut out the rest of these corners, smoothed them out as well. So the next step is we need to install our aluminum riv nuts. So we're going to use an M6 riv nut, and we're going to drill these out and get those put in so we can actually mount it with our hardware. So this hardware actually came with the flares, which I thought was really cool. It's nothing too crazy, just an Allen head M6, but I think it'll look really good. Went ahead over here too and got these just bored out a little bit, so this way we have enough clearance for our hardware and don't have to worry about them pulling through. So I'm going to go ahead and put you guys on the head mount, and we're going to get these all installed. So enjoy. And just like that, guys, both flares are on. So I went ahead and used the M6 hardware that they gave me, and then I put these washers on it. I went ahead and got everything snugged down, and then we heated up the flare. What that's going to do is allow the flare to get kind of more malleable, and then it's going to be able to tuck into things like, see this pocket right here? Got a nice little tuck now. Boom, right into there, comes all the way down. Tucks into there super easy. So, really happy with how these are turning out. I think they look really good. I think they will look really good once it is back on the truck. And then we have the wheels and tires on there so you can actually see what it's gonna look like. But this will allow us to go ahead and tuck our 18s and even tuck our 16s we currently have. Since our 16s would not tuck our 16s, so we had those Frontier wheels on the truck before, and they were able to tuck in the bed. But when we took those donor Kraegers off of the black truck, they actually, I measured the width from outside of the sidewall to outside sidewall on the other side. They actually are like right here. So this should be able to tuck them pretty well. And then it'll also look cool when we are at ride height. I didn't make these arches so high up that when we're at normal ride height, it's gonna look funky. There's still gonna be a partial or at least a flush fitment during ride height. So now that we have this done, I'm pretty happy with how they turned out. You can see in here all of our well nuts. So we need to come back through here. We're going to take this off tomorrow after it cools down and do the same thing to the other side. Once we take them off, we're going to go ahead and primer just that portion so we don't have any issues with any kind of rust starting to form. And then we're going to need to start working on the inside part of the bed. So I think the very next thing we're going to do is we are going to try to join the inner and outer skins together, and then we'll call it a night. Let that spray foam kind of do its thing. So I'm going to put you guys on the head mount. We're going to go ahead and get that done, and I'll catch you guys in the next clip. Alrighty, so I went ahead and got the rest of the bed cut out. Obviously it is flipped upside down, and we went ahead and hit it with some spray foam in here. So what I'm hoping is that the spray foam is going to act like a bonding agent and also an isolator. It should really deaden the sound that comes in here, but also I'm hoping that it bonds the inner and outer skins together so that we don't have to worry about unnecessary flex and kind of get rid of that tin can sound. So tomorrow what we're going to do is we're going to come in here and we're going to wire wheel the whole bottom side of the bed, get it prepped for undercoating, see if we need to go ahead and put another can of expanding foam in there, and then we're just going to leave it for a few days and then probably get it sprayed. We have to make some support rods there and there, and then also here and here, which I have some stuff over on our metal shelf that should work pretty well. You might be wondering, hey, there's a front fender right here. Yeah, there is. So because we've already done the rears and I've got all the measurements for our rear setup, I'm thinking that, you know, this is obviously like what our flare looks like uncut. So no heat treating to warp it, nothing. It's just a standard 3-inch kind of Rocket Bunny style flare, super cheap. But since we can't obviously put it like this, I mean, I guess we could, like really, I guess we could just like plop it here and try to flex it out and make it work. But you can see there's a lot of extra overhang here. So I'm thinking about doing something similar to what we did on the back, which will be to bring it down like this maybe, and then we'll have this kind of cut out here. It'll roll all along the front of the fender. We will lop it off down here, and then this will be the last bolt that'll kind of hold it in place. So we're gonna play with a couple different ideas like that. I mean, I kind of didn't want the front and the rears to match in that kind of similar style. I did the rears the way I did because it just made the most sense to clear everything. It gave us the widest opening and also the most coverage. So I'm hoping to do something similar here to the front. We might mess with this a little bit tomorrow, but realistically what I'd like to do is get this bed all done on the underside, flip it over, prep the inside of the bed for the new coating, spray the back wall here black, and then get it put on the truck. So this way we can go ahead and work on our front fenders, work on our doors, work on our hood and our cowl, and assemble everything, finish up our tailgate, and then get the truck in here and spray the last couple coats of the metallic top coat, get everything wet sanded, clear coat, and then be good to go to cut and buff. So I appreciate everybody watching. We're going to catch back up on this tomorrow. I was going to end the video today, but I'm going to go and we're going to end it tomorrow so we can get a little bit more work done here. We're only going to do one video this week, but I will be filming next week so we can put out 2 videos, one video on Saturday and one video on Monday. I'm really trying to grind, guys. Like I said, I'm not 100% better yet, but I am working on it. We have a lot to do. It's just me. You know, we're going to do what we can. So I appreciate you guys watching. I'm going to catch you guys tomorrow, but it'll be the next clip, so enjoy. And just like that, it is the next day. So the first pass we did with the expanding foam wasn't enough. So I went ahead and laid some more in here. I know that we were going to go ahead and do the wire wheeling on the underside of the bed today, but it turns out I actually don't have the coating I need. I thought I had some in the other shop in our paint cabinet, but I guess I do not. So I have to order some online because it's not something I can just buy locally, unfortunately. All of the places around me are sold out. So while we wait for that stuff to show up, I figured I'd go ahead and lay a little bit more of the foam sealer in here. So this expanding foam will do a good job today. A little cold outside, a little dry. Unfortunately, this stuff cures with humidity and heat, so we have some heaters running, and hopefully that'll be enough. But to go ahead and wrap this video up, I think what we're going to do is get the front fender flares all done. We're going to get them all mocked up, we're going to get them cut, and then we'll go ahead and cut the actual fender itself. And then that'll go ahead and wrap up this video. This way the bed and the front fenders have the flares on them. Now we'll have to wait to see what they're going to look like on the truck, obviously, until we're done with the bed. The bed will be the very first thing that goes on, and then what we can do is actually do a mock-up on the fenders to make sure everything looks good there, since we do have a new core support. There are a couple little things that we're going to have to address, like this fender is good because it has a tab still. This fender doesn't have that tab that mounts underneath, so we're going to have to go ahead and tack something on there that's going to fix that up for us. So I'm going to go ahead and get you guys on the head mount, and we're going to go ahead and knock out this front fender, and then I'll do the other front fender off camera, because who likes seeing the same thing twice? Not this guy. right, so now that we got the riv nuts all in place, I went ahead and put some hardware in. I am just using this hardware temporarily till our new hardware shows up. These are just some M6 hardware with some washers I had laying around just to equally distribute the pressure across the flare. So this way, as we heat it up, we'll be able to form it how we want. A good example is going to be like down here. So you can see that we have a nice gap here. What I'm going to do is heat this all up, then we're going to flex this in slowly like that, and probably secure it down here just with a some Gorilla Glue and a clamp. And then what we'll do is we'll pop the glue off once it's formed, and we'll go ahead and be able just to use some double-sided tape down there at the bottom. So nothing too crazy. Pretty stoked with actually how these turned out. I think they look really cool. I think they're going to look really good on the truck. So we got ourselves a nice little cutout right here, which our tire will be able to poke a little, but I think it looked really good. I did go ahead and trim the inside. So inside here you can see that we got it all nice and cleaned up, smoothed out those edges, brought it just all the way around and smoothed the taper out there. So we have some mounting tabs on each side. So guys, I think that's actually going to wrap up this video. I know I wanted to get all of the bed done in this one, but it's already Monday. I'd like to go ahead and get some footage out there for you guys so you can see that we are actually working on it. What we'll do is this week we will have another video coming out probably on Saturday, maybe Friday night, but it'll be us working on the bed here, getting this all cleaned up, and hopefully our coating will be here, and we can go ahead and get this all sprayed out, and we'll get an update on the foam as well. I'm going to go ahead and get this other fender done off camera, but I just kind of wanted to give you guys this update, letting you know we're back out in the garage. So technically right now, 3/4 of the truck is wide-bodied. Well, wide-bodied in the loosest of terms, but we do have our flares where they need to be and secured on the back. We do have our front flare done, and we'll have the other one done later this afternoon, so I'm pretty excited about that. I think the truck is going to look really cool. And you know, worst case scenario, if we put it all together, because we are going to test fit, I'm going to test fit the fenders before we spray them or do anything like that, just to make sure I kind of like how it's going to look. The bed, unfortunately, we won't know until after we spray it, because I'm not going to mount the bed up onto the truck just to take a look at the flares. I know that the measurements are good for the cuts we made and the location of the overfenders, so I'm not worried about that. I'm just more worried, like, I might not like the style, but honestly, I think once it's all put together and we can see it, I think it's gonna look really, really cool. So I'm gonna leave you guys with this. I hope you guys had an awesome couple weeks, and I hope you guys had a great weekend. I will catch you guys in the next video. Until the next one, peace.